And I've heard a lot of people expressing concerns about that. So how do you change that?
Well, you have to restructure how the meetings happen. So the current chair of the commission, excuse me, has declined to engage with the public that way and feels like the regular opportunities that the public has are sufficient. I, along with a few other commissioners, don't feel that's the case. I think that we need to listen to the public. It does not mean as an elected official you have to do what the public says in a public, when the public says something, but you do need to be able to listen. And you need to listen in a way that makes the public comfortable of two things. One, they have an opportunity, and second, they are actually heard. And we have proposed many things, like I said, in meetings or outside of meetings, that we change the agenda for the meetings to allow that. And we were rebuffed by the chair of the commission, who wouldn't consider that and felt the current system works well. So that's one of the things I think needs to happen. Um, the second thing is that would be an opportunity to also explain what the commission actually does. Okay, and there's both correct perceptions and misperceptions when I read, what people say about planning and zoning in town of what the commission actually does. For example, I don't get to decide if I like pink better than blue. That's not what the commission is about. The commission is about making sure that the proposed developments or housing or whatever it is conforms to our regulations. Okay, and to have a robust discussion of that. And if somebody is asking for something that goes beyond our regulations, to understand and to comment on how it benefits the town. And some people understand that, and some people think that the commission can accept or deny an application just based on how we're feeling about something, which is not true. But without discussion about it, how it works per se, I don't think people really are aware of what the boundaries are, the rules are, and what the commission is actually trying to do. The second thing I think needs to change is the ability of the commission to negotiate. Okay. And sometimes the commission does things correctly, sometimes it makes mistakes. So if you look at some of the ways that affordable housing was addressed with regards to the downtown village rezoning, overlay, excuse me, it's not a rezone, it's an overlay. You'll find that certain things were not included in the original draft, that being the percentage of affordable housing that was going to be requested of a developer, which was, um, as much as I live in a business world where I don't get to cut people any slack for any mistakes. Outside of that, from a town perspective, I think it actually was a mistake. I mean, I don't think there was an insidious plot to do this or things like that. But what didn't happen was I didn't see the chair of the commission, who reserves the right to negotiate, approach developers and say, look, we made a mistake. So are you going to be a good town citizen or not be a good town citizen? And let them declare what they were going to do publicly based on that, which obviously, for the size of some of the owners and developers in the town, would put them in a position where maybe we would have been able to reconcile those differences. But I don't see a lot of negotiation going on that is successful. And I felt that way also when the town was negotiating, and I've seen the town negotiate around 830G. I've just never seen a successful strategy of negotiation with the developer versus, people getting very entrenched in their positions and not having the real discussions. So I think that that's another thing that both I can bring and some other people can bring. So if I go back to what I was saying, I think there is public engagement. There is the issue of negotiating with landlords. And there is one other thing which I would like to see. I would like to see more engagement and discussion of planning, not just zoning. I mean, as much as it is fun to spend 4 hours every other meeting discussing arcane zoning regulations with people who are bringing proposals to the committee and things like that, there really isn't a lot of discussion of planning. And I'll give you an example of that. There is a lot of, at least what I perceive as noise in the system about what is the impact fiscally of these developments on Wilton. Is it going to be accretive or dilutive to the budget of the town? Okay. Is it going to cause what I call cliff events financially? Are we going to need a new fire truck for a great deal of money because we go over the amount that we can have? Or I'm not sure if ambuli is the plural of ambulances, but will we need another ambulance in town? Will we, will our schools have to be expanded, or do we believe the data and impact of what people say when they're developing a specific property? So, in general, the process of looking at an individual development is pretty good. Come on, they have to do traffic studies and people impact studies and environmental studies, and they have to do all kinds of things. But it's being looked at as on a development by development basis. So if you walked around Wilton and you asked people, what are the number of new apartments that will come online in Wilton? And what is the cost of that to both infrastructure? And what is the revenue differential that'll come into the town? Because generally these developments are replacing very low, poorly taxed properties. I have yet, and I've asked at the Board of Selectmen level, and I've asked at the planning and zoning level, and I've had some good conversations with people on the Board of Finance. I said, well, what is the impact? I mean, this is not difficult math, to do. But in general, I've not seen that. I've seen more in the town as a whole of people talking about things with very broad strokes. Like lots of people are concerned about that this is going to cost the town a lot of money. Well, I don't know what that means. Okay, I don't know who lots of people are. And B, I don't know if it's going to cost the town a lot of money. The rough calculations make me feel like it's probably going to be financially beneficial to the town. But the second thing people say is it will destroy the character of Wilton. And I personally kind of always take umbrage when somebody says the character of Wilton, because I don't know what the word character means. It's a really undefined and thrown around word in the Fairfield County towns. But even if I say it's a sense of small town community or a sense of, rural accessibility and things like that, I counter that with that the town needs to change. I don't know if any of you have gone to downtown Wilton recently for dinner, but when I'm tied up in New York in meetings and things like that, and I come home and I sometimes will stop in the center of town and grab myself a quick bite to eat. And if I see five people walking by, that's a good day. Wilton has not done a very good job of what I call activating the center of town. Okay. Parents don't drop their children off there to wander around aimlessly. And I personally, as a father, am somewhat in favor of free range children, but they grow up to be capable children. But the town itself is really becomes a ghost town in the evenings. Something I believe should be done to make the town more vibrant and active and all those kinds of things. And there's talk about it, but I don't see a lot of action.